for joining us for today's workshop on disability inclusive library resources for grad students. And I'm going to go ahead and activate, just one moment, I'm going to go ahead and activate our subtitles here for additional accessibility. All right, so this is our agenda for today, but before I dive into that, I want to give you a short introduction of myself. My name is Ben Corriette. I am a fourth-year PhD in computer science student from Orlando, Florida, and I have the pleasure of serving as the chairperson and disability liaison officer for the Graduate Library Committee. It's good to see Ms. Clark, also part of our committee online today. Good to see you, Ms. Clark. And I know that others will be joining us shortly. So the agenda for today, we will start off with some welcome and our introductions. One of the things that we pride ourselves with at the Graduate Library Committee is that we want to foster an atmosphere of intimacy whenever we have a workshop. We don't want anyone to be strangers. So we will have a 5 to 10 minute space to introduce ourselves so we have a little bit more familiarity with each other. Then we'll move on to our overview of the library system. We have a wonderful system here at Howard University, and a lot of students, graduate students, do not know what's available and how to apprise themselves of these wonderful resources. So we'll talk about that. And then we'll move on to the general library resources that are available for our disabled graduate students. And then we'll wrap up and conclude the presentation after that. So we'll probably be done in maybe 35 to 40 minutes, all right? So with that said, let's move on into our welcome and introductions. I've already welcomed those of you who are here, but I think that some of you may not be familiar with each other. So what I would like you to do is give your Howard intro, just as I did, and talk about how you are connected to the disability community here at Howard University. Mr. Waters, I'll start with you. Can you just introduce yourself briefly and talk about your connection to the disability community?
Good afternoon, everyone. I am the graduate librarian here at the Founders Library. I try to make sure that any and all graduate students, whether they have disability, that they get the information that they need. However, that information, I make sure that they get it.
Thank you. Thank you. Who will be next?
Hello, everyone. My name is Roderick Burns. I'm the head of access services at Howard University Libraries. How we're connected to disability services, Howard University Libraries' commitment to disability services is to just provide the community with equal opportunity to use our collections, our services, and our physical and online spaces, and also work in a timely manner to identify the reasonable accommodations necessary to ensure accessibilities for users that may have disabilities.
Thank you, Mr. Burns. Ms. Clark or PJ, would you be able to introduce yourselves for us?
I will introduce myself. Hi, everyone. I'm PJ. Use she and her pronouns. Forgive me, my camera isn't working, but I am a first year scholar and under the School of Communication, the CCMS Culture and Communication, Culture and Media program. I am from the DC area, PG County, and I am Haitian American, interested in studying Haitian American women's role in cultural preservation and innovation. Oh, forgive
Wonderful.
me. I also didn't get to mention, I am connected to this community as a person living with a disability. I'm registered with the Office of Accessibility, and I'm in need of services that unfortunately I haven't figured out. So yeah, I'm interested in learning more about that.
Thank you very much, PJ. And welcome to Howard. And Ms. Clark has entered her introduction in the chat, so please read that so you can get more familiar with Ms. Clark. Okay, so let us move forward. I also want to let you know that this recording is going to be posted on our YouTube channel, and so that you will be able to take a look back and at all of the useful resources available to students graduate students with disabilities. So let me go ahead and restart my presentation, and we should be good to go. Share my screen. Okay, let's move forward. So we're going to move forward with the overview of the library system. So we are going to be covering the six libraries and research centers that are within our library system. And at each of the libraries that we'll be discussing, I'll be asking the point of contact, if the point of contact is here, it's good that Mr. Burns is here with us on the call, about any specific accessibility accommodations that are at those facilities. All right, so let's go ahead and move forward. So let's start off with the Founders Library. The Founders Library, just to give you a little bit of historical background, it is, well, back in 2016, it was designated as a national treasure by the National Trust for Historic Preservation. And unfortunately, right now it is undergoing construction. So the services, library services, have been transferred to the undergraduate library on a temporary basis until further notice. We have actually our point of contact with us on the call, Mr. Roderick Burns. Mr. Burns, do you have anything you would like to add or share specifically as it relates to accessibility at Founders?
Yes, absolutely. So currently Founders is undergoing construction and maintenance. So we're temporarily offline for right now. All library services have been moved to the Wayne A.I. Frederick Undergraduate Library, but obviously that means that books are not going to be accessible because Founders is temporarily offline. So we do have several services that we have that in order to break that. So one of the services that we do offer is you can request a book online, and if you will allow me to share my screen, hold on one sec. Okay. So if you go to our website, you all will see that we are currently offline. Now, users will be able to access our books, our journals, our media going here. Now, what you would have to do is you would have to log into your My Library account first in order to access some of our materials. So you'll be brought to this screen and you would have to log in using your regular Howard credentials that you normally use. And as you can see here, we have several options for you. You can search for journals, you can search for magazines with our browsing. So a lot of magazines, for example, we have access to. Let me go back to browsing. We have access to. So you wouldn't have to have the physical copies. The physical copies of journals are all here on the browsing. And this is a service that Howard provides. It's one of our newer services that's been upgraded. Let me go back. Okay. And also for disability services, we have a chat that we could use. Our Ask a Librarian chat. So if you have any questions pertaining to Founders Library, whether you are interested in retrieving an item that we have, or just any general questions on reference or anything like that, the Founders Library chat is available from 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock p.m. Monday through Friday, and you can use this as a resource. Now we also, let me go back to my library account. When you log on to here, let's say that you want a physical copy of a book, and we do not have it here. You can request that book to be sent via interlibrary loan. And if you click on this, you just have to put your information and make sure that if you want a book delivered to Howard University, select Founders, or if you're in part of the Law Library or Health Sciences Library, whatever your concentration is, you will select that. But for the main choice, you would choose Founders. You'd put your Howard email address, your Bison ID, and your first and last name. And then you would be able to request an article, a book chapter, and multimedia. And this is all here at Howard as to where we will send you a confirmation that we received your request. And once your request is fulfilled, you will receive confirmation to come to the undergraduate library, which is wheelchair accessible, and retrieve the book. We're right in the front of the Wayne Frederick AI Library. And that's all that I have for right now. Any other questions, please let me know and I'll be able to assist.
Thank you very much, Mr. Burns. And I will continue on with my presentation. Okay, so that is our Founders Library. Moving on to the Wayne AI Frederick Undergraduate Library. To give you a little history on this library, it's been in existence since 1983. The Wayne AI Frederick Undergraduate Library has been a space specifically designated for collaborative use by our undergraduate populations. There are several departments that are housed within the undergraduate library, including the University Testing Center from the Office of Student Services, Karsh STEM Scholars, the Electronic Arts Studio from the College of Fine Arts, and the Faculty Leadership Development Center from the Office of the Provost. Now, Mr. Burns is also the head of Access Services, specifically for the Wayne AI Frederick Undergraduate Library. You've already spoken at length, Mr. Burns, about how things are set up and how to get access to library resources. Is there anything that maybe you didn't mention specifically about the undergraduate library that you want to talk about?
Yes, sure. So this is our temporary location right now because Founders is offline. And we also have at the desk, as soon as you walk in, we're on the left side of the desk. That's where currently Founders is located, well, relocated into Wayne AI Frederick Library. We also have different services for disability students outside of ILL requests. So if you want to place a hold on an item from our collection, you can do that as well. for people that cannot access books on shelves, we can, if you want an item from Moreland Spingarn or anything like that, you can request a hold, and then we can send that hold to Moreland Spingarn or wherever the item is located, and they'll give it to us, and then we'll notify you, and you can pick it up as well. Also, we do that for WRLC books as well. So we're part of the Washington Research Library Consortium. So books that Howard University does not own, you can still retrieve, you can still have access to those books, whether they're print or digital. All you'd have to do is log into the website that I mentioned before with your My Library account and type in the item that you want. And if it's not available, you'll be able to drag down and locate it under the WRLC, and you can request it that way. And all of these services are free to use for Howard University students, staff, and faculty.
Thank you very much, Mr. Burns. And that is the Wayne A.I. Frederick Undergraduate Library. Moving on to what Mr. Burns mentioned, the Moreland Spingarn Research Center. A little background on the MSRC. So it's housed within the Partners Library. The MSRC is recognized as one of the world's largest and most comprehensive repositories for the documentation of the history and culture of people of African descent in Africa, the Americas, and other parts of the world, right? So that's right there within Founders. Mr. Burns, you are also the contact for that research space. You did speak about the interlibrary loan process and getting access to resources within the research center, the MSRC. Is there anything that you want to add that you haven't mentioned before?
Yes, also there's another point of contact for Moreland Spingarn Research. If I'm not available, you could contact Alyssa Cofield.
Okay, great. If you can copy, maybe if
And I will,
you're able to copy and paste that in the chat, that would be wonderful.
I'm gonna go ahead and do that now.
Thank you very much, sir. All right. So moving on to the School of Business Library. The School of Business Library, a little bit of background on that space. The Business Library supports the 8 departments within the School of Business. It also serves as an information hub by way of resource sharing and networking for all other disciplines at Howard. Now, the School of Business does not have a specific access librarian, so Mr. Burns, once again, would be your resource for access services at the School of Business Library. Do you have anything you want to add about the School of Business Library, Mr. Burns?
I do not have anything to add for that right now.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to the School of Divinity Library. School of Divinity, the School of Divinity Library, a little background on that. The Divinity Collection is housed in the fourth floor of the Law Library, which is located on the Howard University West Campus and restricted to Howard Law and Divinity students, faculty, and staff. So unless you are part of that department, unless you are a law student or a divinity student, you are unable to access that specific library. Now, they also do not have a specific access services librarian at the School of Divinity Library. So, Mr. Burns, do you have any information you want to share about that specific library?
Yes, any questions regarding the Divinity Library, just contact me at roderick.burns@howard.edu. And also you're able to, if you're part of the Divinity Library, you are able to borrow from other universities as well.
Wonderful, thank you so much for that. Let's move on to the Vernon E. Jordan Jr. Law Library. A little history on that. So in 2021, the Law Library was renamed to honor Vernon E. Jordan Jr., a Howard Law alumnus who went on to be a seminal figure in the civil rights movement and a high-profile fixture in the Washington, D.C. area. Now, they do have a specific Access Services librarian. Ms. Carmel Henry is head of Access Services and Library Technology at the Vernon E. Jordan Jr. Law Library. Make sure to reach out to her for any of your Access Services needs. Now, Lewis Stokes Health Sciences Library. So a little bit of background on that one. So the Lewis Stokes Health Sciences Library, or HSL for short, supports the objectives of the health sciences colleges by making accessible health sciences information that advances research, scholarship, education, and patient care, and by providing research assistance and training programs that address the needs of students, faculty, staff, and the Howard community at large. Now, they have access to our databases as, we have access to the databases at the HSL because we are affiliates of Howard University, and their office hours or their hours of operation are between Monday and Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., Saturday and Sunday between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. The point of contact is Mr. Jeremy Gonneau. He is the Assistant Director of Operations and serves as one of the medical librarians at Lewis Stokes. So they were, unfortunately, none of the representatives could make it today, but they were very supportive of this workshop, and we definitely are grateful. So let's talk about some of the general resources that are available for our disabled students in the graduate school. So this is a list of libraries that have wheelchair access. Mr. Burns actually added another one. He mentioned that the Wayne A.I. Frederick Undergraduate Library also has wheelchair access. So we can add that also to this list. Founders, School of Business Library, School of Divinity, Lewis Stokes, and the Undergraduate Library. Is there any other libraries that I missed, Mr. Burns?
No, that's all to my understanding.
Okay, thank you very much. So Mr. Godot at the HSL sent us this list of the disability inclusive resources that are available to you at Lewis Stokes. So they have automatic door entry. You don't have to worry about pulling a handle or anything like that. You just walk right in. They have elevators to access the different floors that they have. They have handicap stalls on both restrooms on each floor. The tables are wheelchair accessible. They have handicap parking available. They have wheelchair accessible water fountains. Reference services are available by phone or virtually. You can designate a proxy to check out a book or pick up a book for you if you're not able to be there in person. And also articles are emailed to you if necessary. So they have several resources, disability inclusive resources at Lewis Stokes. And these are courtesy of Mr. Jeremy Godot. Mr. Godot also sent me these disability inclusive library database resources. Several of them they have additional accessibility resources. For example, Science Direct, which is part of Elsevier, the website is Web Content Accessibility Guidelines Compliant, which means that you can use your screen reader if need be, increase the font size, get descriptions for images, and it's fully compatible with whatever assistive software that you have to be able to consume the information on their site. So all these websites, all these databases are accessible to your screen reader software, and most of them have additional features that are available to whatever assistive technology that you may use. So who are these two fine gentlemen on the screen right now? So You've heard a lot from Mr. Roderick Burns. He is the head of access services of our university libraries. And to the right, you have Mr. Tommy Waters, who is our graduate librarian. So I'm going to pause at this time and let these two fine gentlemen talk about their role and responsibilities at at Howard and within our library system, and how, if you have any specialized support needs, they can assist you with those needs. Mr. Burns, I'll hand it over to you first.
Thank you, Ben. My name is Roderick Burns. I'm the head of access services here at Howard University. Some of what I do is I provide oversight and leadership for circulation, course reserves, and the library loan, and document delivery services for Founders and Wayne A.I. Frederick Undergraduate Library. I collaborate across all library departments, partners on campus, and with the Washington Research Library Consortium, like I mentioned, on issues of collection maintenance, collection management, design, delivery of circulation services, and access to resources and technology. I assist in promoting access services, conducting demonstrations and orientations. I instruct new borrowers, troubleshooting circulation-related issues, and I communicate with individual patrons and other libraries in resolving difficulties in completing requests.
Thank you very much, Mr. Burns. And if a disabled graduate student wants to reach out to you, they can just sending you an email the best way for them to contact you? Roderick.burns@howard.edu.
Yes, that would be the best, or they could contact me by 202-806-5700.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Burns. Mr. Waters, let's hand it over to you. Can you just talk a little bit about your role and responsibilities here at Howard?
As stated before, I'm a graduate librarian. I teach a lot of the graduate students. I have some main focuses on social work and economics, but I do help with all of the graduate students. I help with finding all the resources that they need. I do chat services, video services, because I know a lot of students are not on campus. There is a chat service through Howard that we're on pretty much Monday through Friday, starting from 8 to 5 every day. We do what we call consultations, where graduate students would come in and we would help you go through your paper, help you to formulate your ideals so that you are not muttering around, that you stay focused, and I help you to stay focused on your ideals. We set up workshops, and I work with the graduate library committee, which you met Ben, who is the chair of that committee. We are in the process of opening up a graduate research center, which will be housed at Founders Library, room 300A. That is the gist of my services.
Thank you very much, Mr. Waters. And if a graduate student needs specialized support for their needs due to disability, is the best way to contact them via your email, tommy.waters@howard.edu?
Yes, they can email me. That's the best way right now.
Okay.
Until the Founders is back open, because I don't have access to a telephone. So if they can email me, that's the best way to reach me right now.
Sounds great. Sounds great. Okay, and for additional support resources, so if you have any web accessibility needs, if any of the web pages on any Howard University website is inaccessible to you, you can contact web services at howard.edu or call them at that number. And also you can contact the Disability Support Services, which is under the Office of Student Services. Mr. Paris Adon, Dr. Paris Adon is the director. You can contact him at his email address. The hours of operation for the Disability Support Services, which is housed within the Wayne A.I. Frederick Undergraduate Library, is Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can contact them at accessibility@howard.edu. Call at the number provided, as well as the if you need teletype services, they have those available. They have that available for you as well as a website that you can browse. All right. That said, I am going to conclude my presentation for today and would love to open it up to if you have any questions that you have for Mr. Burns, for Mr. Waters in relation to, or just in general in relation to accessibility services at our university libraries.
Hi, I have a question or maybe a few. Can someone clarify? I'm not sure what the web accessibility is. I'm not sure what that is. I didn't understand that. Also, I'm understanding that there's access to folks that may have physical barriers, but is there any other like alternative support? I came from a university where, for example, there was like a quiet space specifically reserved for students living with disabilities. And there was also accessibility technology there. And I'm wondering, even my local library here in DC, like when I log in, it does have screen readers or speech to text software, things like that. Is any of that also available, or I'd like to know that. And then I've also reached out to Access Services Department at the at howard.edu, and they had not gotten back to me my last request and my last couple requests. So is it better to just contact Mr. Burns, or like, those are my questions right now. So thanks.
I'll tackle the first question, PJ. So the web accessibility was referring to if you are on a Howard University website and it is not accessible to you to your assistive technology software, or you cannot read or decipher the information based on whatever disability that you may have, whether it's visual, auditory, etc. And you would be able to send that issue to web services at howard.edu, and they can make that web page accessible to you, whatever measures they need to take to make that web page or website accessible for your needs. So that's what that meant. Great. And for your other questions, I will hand that over to Mr. Burns and Mr. Waters to address those subsequent questions.
Yeah, so I'm the point of contact. So if you do have any access services questions, just contact me. A lot of the language on the website has not been updated yet, so I'm the point of contact. Just contact roger.burns@howard.edu. Some of the access services department emails I receive and some I don't. They just get trickled down because we're kind of reshifting since I've onboarded. So just the best way to get for point of contact would be just roderick.burns@howard.edu for access services.
Sounds good. Mr. Hayes, I see you have a question for Mr. Waters. Let me see. Mr. Waters' program about keeping grad students focused. Could you elaborate on that, Mr. Hayes?
Yeah, no problem. Mr. Waters was I guess he's talking about his roles at Founders, and he kind of mentioned something about making sure students don't get muddled or get kind of lost in their studies or in their focus, helping them keep their focus. I wasn't sure if that was a specific program or is it part of just like the graduate lounge kind of resources that will be provided, having like that accountability of having someone you can like go to or any sort of more information about what that was.
I could not hear that. I'm gonna take that, our consultations, whether it's in person or on video, what it is, if you're doing your paper, you're doing your research, I will sit down with you and you will go over, tell me what your topic is. And I can kind of go over your topic to see that it's not too big, or if there's some, even if there's some information out there, because some people come up with elaborate titles, and I help them to narrow that title down so that they can find more of the information that they might be looking for. So that's the kind of consultation that I do.
Thank you.
Okay.
Great. Any other questions, comments, or concerns before we wrap up our workshop for this afternoon?
Hi, yeah, I just wanted to clarify again, did you all also have any actual services on campus? I mean, meaning like in the libraries that are specifically like quiet rooms specific for students with a disability or accessible technology like that can be accessed in the libraries? Anything that's like specifically, because I'm hearing you say like we can, if certain things are compatible with like screen readers, but none of that is available on campus or a part of library services. That's what I'm kind of curious about.
Now for the library, you can reserve a space. You can reserve rooms at the library. I can put that information in the chat. If you would like to reserve like a quiet room or a quiet area. And also in the Wayne A.I. Frederick Undergraduate Library building, on sub-level 1, we also have the accessibility services office.
And so are those rooms for everyone, or they're like specific ones for like students with disability? I'm asking because maybe you all know like the nature of like the quietness, like, or the way in which some of those rooms are structured are specifically to make sure that like the person is not distracted or there aren't like, you know, because sometimes there is a lot of activities in libraries, right? Other events going on, things like that. So I don't know if like there's like specifically like designed rooms for students with disability, if there's more information about that, or again, there's there's technology that's specific for students with disability also there.
Now, as far as like specifically for disabilities, probably not. I'm going to assume that everything is just for everybody, but as far as like a quiet area or area that's secluded, we do have those rooms available for to reserve.
And the accessible technology that you were referring to, PJ, or if maybe a screen reader is available or other types of assistive technology within our specific libraries, to my knowledge, I don't believe we have those available specifically within our libraries. If I misspoke, please correct me, Mr. Burns and Mr. Waters.
No, you are correct.
All right.
But I'm glad that you're asking about it, but it is something that we could request to see if this is something that we can get. I can ask the director, what is, are in specific, are you just looking for screen readers, or are you looking, what other technology are you looking for?
Thanks for asking. Yeah, like I said, I noticed that my local library, when I go in there, if I just click on, like, if I sit down to use their laptop, I'm sorry, their computer, it already has accessibility button on it, so it can read to me, it can, I think you probably have dictation, so speech to text software. And I think that it also may do enlargements and things like that with maybe for visual assistance. So it's just kind of a built-in thing on their computer. And so I would really be interested in speech to text or readers. I'm trying to remember what was available at my last institution, but they had a specific room as well for those type of technologies. Um, so yeah, you could use them, given that no one else was using them. So yeah, if any information about that would be very helpful. Um, I think that some programs, like for example, I use Canvas, and Canvas allows for it to do speech to text as well. I don't know if anybody is familiar with that, but it allows some accessibility tools kind of built in as features. So yeah, that's an area I'd love to learn more about.
Okay. Can check with the director and see what programs there are for um, people with disabilities. See if this is something that we can purchase.
And thank you, PJ, for bringing that request to our attention, because there are more than likely other students who also would be interested in using those services, using that technology. So, all right. Well, that being said, if there are no other comments, questions, or concerns, then I would like to thank all of you for joining today our workshop. And again, this recording will be on the Graduate Library Committee YouTube channel. Thank you again for your support, and we'll see you at our next workshop coming very soon. Take care.